October 10th, I was teaching. And as I was teaching, something strange happened. I was just illustrating how for a people who are living in the tension of destiny, how there's a certain place up here where God has put your face in the future. Make it smile. And I was saying how Jesus says he came that we might have life and have it more abundantly. And that there's a certain sense in which when you hit this 10-10 and you're clear about what it is that you're called to do, and you're passionate about the pursuit of doing what God called you to do, you step into appointments that God's prepared for you in advance. He's literally put your face into the future. And every extraordinary high point that you've had as a believer, if you think about it, came at a moment when you were doing what you are the most gifted to do in a situation where you were 100% fully engaged in that moment. That's where you got the call to preach. That's where you got the call to plant a church. That's where you got the call to an entrepreneurial life or to whatever it is that you're pursuing. And I just got done saying, and John 10:10 says that I came that you might have life. Life is when you're living in the fullness of the purpose of God and experiencing the overlap of your circumstances with what he intended to happen as heaven on earth in your sphere. And I looked at the clock and it said 10:10. And that was when I said, look at that, it's 10:10, John 10:10, and someone said it's October 10th. At that moment, we decided in Sacramento at that meeting that I'd come back again and do 10:10:10. And while I've been meditating on why 10, I started thinking about this because it goes with the increase theme. It goes with the elevate theme. And here's the 10. 10 is the number in the Bible of what you would call ordinal perfection. It's when God has set something in order and it's complete. So you've got the 10 commandments. You don't have to add any more to it because it's complete. You've got 10 fingers and 10 toes because that's what it takes for you to be able to walk in the purpose of God, take hold of the purpose of God. When the children of Israel were taken captive to Babylon and tested by the secular culture, though they were young, they were ready. They had decided not to partake of the defilement of the culture and the food that the other contenders were eating. They said, test us with our diet for 10 days and prove us. 10's the number of proving what it is that you've got so that God can exhibit you at the end of the test. And then when they were tested, they were 10 times superior to the other Babylonians. 10 is the number God chose to complete the order of something so that it can be exhibited as a standard. And I sense that there is already beginning a shift that has happened in the earth. The kingdom age is now accelerating in its manifestation because the apostolic move, which had been begun already, but in its birth, it was still, in a sense, getting its feet and hands formed. It's come to a season where the body of Christ, if it can enter into agreement with what the Father wants to do, will be able to shift whole nations in alignment with the purpose of God. This is the power of a timing in God, is that when it happens, it doesn't mean that you know it. That's the fascinating thing. When Jesus was born, a handful of people, there were some shepherds, there was some kings from the east, there was a couple of nervous politicians around Herod. There was really not a whole lot of widespread awareness that God just took the form of flesh and blood. But the fact is, within 30 years of that invasion of earth, everybody could see the finished form of what was done at a time when nobody knew what took place. And even the resurrection of Jesus, think about this. In the resurrection of Jesus, God comes into earth. He completes the redemption of mankind, raises out from the grave, and that fact, which shifted the whole relationship of God with man and man with God, might have taken 20 years or 30 years to have gotten to a foreign country in order to hear the proclamation. It's always something I think about, that profound initiatives in heaven can be done in the earth, and I might not know it happened. There's something about the hubris of my generation that we think if God's going to do anything, I'm going to know about it. Well, you might be discovering something already started. Suddenly a voice comes out of the wilderness, and it's John the Baptist. It's a fully formed message. Only a handful of people knew about the peculiar circumstances surrounding this Elizabeth, his mother's pregnancy, and how old she was when she had the baby. But when he came out from the wilderness, there was a fully formed utterance. I'm wondering about what the Spirit of God is saying to us now about catching up and aligning with where he has already put our face in the future.